good to see most of you again. Well, everybody, but some of you again. So, um, good deal. What questions might you guys have for super senior Amaya here and myself?
Shannon, what have you thought about prep this week for LSU and what's kind of been the focus this week?
Yeah, it's good. I mean, those first 2 days, I feel like back in the gym, we get about honestly, we have about 3 practices typically each week. And so the front end is really always pretty important on just kind of setting the tone. If we're going to make some adjustments, usually those happen early in the week, and some improvements. And so I've been really pleased. I think we got a lot of good work in. The energy's been good, and obviously when things are going well, that's a little easier, but they worked really hard yesterday, and we got a little off day today, but yeah, excited. And I think we've got some new people kind of stepping up and getting ready to make some improvements and maybe some lineup debuts too.
Can you kind of talk a little bit more about that? Who are some of the people that you're looking to kind of step up this week and maybe some debuts we can keep an eye out for?
Yeah, absolutely. Well, I think on vault, I think JJ, she exhibition last week, and I think or maybe once before that. I think she's looking really good over there. We're hoping to get her in the lineup. Either I would say I would anticipate she's either going in the lineup this weekend or next weekend, one of the two. So it could be this week. I think after tomorrow I'll have a little better idea. On I think on bars. We're fortunate we've got a good amount of depth over there, and so we're hoping to obviously get this young lady back in the bar lineup this week, and then obviously Raina made a debut last weekend at Georgia, and did a good job with that. So, but yeah, I think besides getting Amaya back in there, we're hoping at some point to get Hannah Horton into the bar lineup too. I think on balance beam, that was a new lineup last week, so I think we're probably going to stay the course over there, would be my anticipation. But we may see Mara was in our beam lineup earlier in the year. I don't know if she's going in this weekend, but we'll probably get her back in at some point. And then on floor exercise, yeah, we're all of our freshmen have made a debut on floor, many of them between Hannah, Raina, and Kennedy. They may all see a floor lineup this weekend all at one time, so that would be a little bit different right there. So yeah, so just kind of mixing and matching a little bit right now, trying to find A, get people experience, and B, try to figure out what's our best lineup too, and then C, maybe share the load a little bit so we're not overworking any one person.
You mentioned Mara. Last week against Georgia, the historic, highest bar score in program history. What was your reaction? You see her in practice every day. You see her perform. Were you impressed by that? Were you surprised? What was kind of your reaction from all that?
No, not really surprised, just wondering when it was going to happen, quite honestly. So, I mean, she had obviously has a track record of doing quite well there, at her previous university. And we see that type of work, honestly, a lot. I think, we dialed her routine back a little bit. She had been doing, kind of a different release move from the high to low bar. And it's what we call a pack salto, is that kind of going from the high bar down to the low bar. And it was previously she had a full turn in there, so it was a much more difficult move. But it's all about risk and reward in our sport. And obviously we want to do the big skills and the wow skills, but we also need to get rewarded for them too. If you're going to take that risk, you want to. And we just felt like last weekend was a time to try that out and just maybe, I don't want to call it water it down, but just change it up a little bit and see if that paid off for us. And it did. And she looked a lot more comfortable with it too. And we got rewarded from it score wise. So we were excited for Mara, and she's doing exactly what we kind of thought she was capable of doing. So we're excited for her.
Was that a similar strategy you took with taking out Sienna's front double twist on floor?
You guys are getting smarter each week. Yep. So yeah, you want to try to push the envelope a little bit with some things. And I think that was our intention early on, was to, take some risk, see if they paid off, see how they would work out. But you also have to find at a certain point, you got to go, okay, hey, I'm not sure this is worth it at this point. Some of them are, some of them aren't, and so you're right. We actually, that was the same floor routine that Sienna did last year. And we just decided she was a little more comfortable with it. And we felt like it had an opportunity to score a little higher. And both of those ended up being true. So, yeah.
This is kind of a question for both of you guys, but you guys got your third straight top 20 opponent this week. Obviously, no defense in gymnastics, but what are some of the benefits do you guys think of facing such tough competition week in and week out?
Honestly, we don't really think about who we're going up against. We're just trying to be the best versions of ourselves, and we've been putting in the work in the gym. So honestly, we just get to the weekend and we want to show what we've been practicing.
Yeah. Again, I've said this before, there's no defense. So if we can improve, if we can, it'd be like they're just being offense in football or basketball, right? If you can just score as many points as you can, that's going to put you in a good position. So, and it helps keep you focused on the things that you can actually control too. So yeah, we're excited about it. We're just, if we can be a little bit better than we were last weekend, certainly that helps us with national rankings, but it also puts us in a position that we, if we do our job, we can, potentially walk away with a win. We always want to win. But the only way we can do that is by getting better. So
what kind of improvements are you looking for this week? I know that you guys did really well with the sticks. It seemed like it was probably 50% at least sticks. So what kind of improvements are you looking to make going into Friday?
You want me to go?
You got it.
Okay. Yeah, I think similarly, Karen, we want to continue on making those landings a priority for us. Those are obviously key to what we're doing, and those if we want to be the best teams in the country do a good job with their landings and stick. And if we feel like we're going to be one of those teams, we obviously have to do those things. So we kind of refocused a little bit on that last week and then move forward. And yeah, I think we're excited to get back in home again. We've been on the road for a couple of weeks, so that's exciting. Now we want to show our fans, I think that's exciting to, it's great to do it on the road, but I feel like it's even more fun to do it at home in front of your own home fans. So I think again, landings, we've been working a little bit on just form and some details like pointed toes and straight legs and as one of the previous reporters here asked, we're just trying to figure out how we can clean up a couple of things. And sometimes you got to take a step back and kind of simplify some things to be successful. And I think that's the phase we're in, but that's good because we always go through this simplification phase, but we're going through it earlier this year, which is great. But that because we're more prepared, I feel like at the beginning of the year, we can hit certain phases sooner. So instead of hitting this phase in like mid-February, late February, we're hitting it in mid to late January. So we're about a month ahead, which is a good sign for us. So
I have another
Go ahead,
question,
Karen.
sorry, about the stick. So I think it was last week, Nate, who seems to have a huge amount of gymnastics knowledge, asked about the rule change with the sticks. Can you explain that a little more?
you want to do it? I'll do it. Okay. I'll take one more. And we'll throw into a Maya here. So really, I don't know. I felt like it was going to be a bigger issue than it has been. But I think where they put it, basically, there's always been the rule in there to there's like two parts to it. One is the stick, and then the other part is the finish, right? So standing vertically and upright in there. And so there's kind of like two parts to it on there. You got to obviously you need the stick in order to avoid taking steps, but you also have to then finish the routine and basically present that routine right there. And so I really think it's just it's an effort to get rid of the kind of the cover-ups, right? And on there. And it really just gives the judges a tool to take that deduction if the gymnast doesn't really show control and show a finish right there on there. So I think as long as you do, it doesn't have to be perfect, but I think as long as you're showing control and then showing the finish, so the stick would be with the bent leg position. The finish would be with a straight leg position and arms up by the side. Yeah. So just to kind of put a little clarification to that.
You mentioned those national rankings earlier. This could go for both of you. Like, how important is that to the mindset of the team? I see clear as like there's a lot of high energy with you guys. You guys focus too much on the outside rankings, or just trying to kind of focus on what you guys can control?
We really focus on what we can control, but we know that we can be a top 10 team. So our goal is to be in the top 10 for each event.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I think we're good enough that, yeah, I mean, the rankings I feel like are just they're they're letting us know that we're doing the right things, right? And so on there. So it's nice to know like, hey, look, and as a coach, you definitely, we're telling all these people what to do and do this and so when it actually comes to fruition and it's working and we're seeing results not only in scores but rankings, well, it tells us we're doing the right things. And I think then we get more buy-in, right? Now people are willing to work a little harder because they're like, well, hey, look how good it's working, right? So let's keep doing those things on there. And so, yeah, the rankings are nice and that's cool. I think that's just confidence building stuff right there. But we know that we have to continue to develop because if we stay the same, we'll get passed up. And so we know that we have to continue to get better. Those stick percentages, that's great if they're at 50% now. But look, as we move to the end of February, we need to be closer to 60%, and then and even higher in order to maintain what we're trying to do.
Can you talk about Amari Celestine on beam? This is just her third routine on beam, and she already scored 9.925. What can you kind of attribute to that success that she found so quickly?
What do you think?
I think it's her confidence on beam. She goes over to beam every single day and she really puts in the work. So as a teammate watching her and her dedication, I'm not surprised by her score by any means. She deserved it. She looks great over there.
Yeah. I was so impressed with her. I've been so impressed with her this year. But it was really cool to see. I think last weekend was her best routine she's done. And that's hard closing a road meet out on beam sometimes when it's tight like that. So to her credit, she's a competitor and it's really cool to see. And we obviously we pulled her off bars from last year to just help preserve the body. And so really great to see her. I think she was like she was determined that she was going to compete 3 events this year at least. And so it was really cool to see her put her mind to it and get that done. And I think she's exceeding even maybe what she thought she was capable of, but it's really cool.
Shannon, with that junior class at large, they went through the recruiting process and signed at such a tough time for a lot of athletes to go through that, but have come in and found so much success early. Just what have you seen from that group over the last few years here?
Yeah, just continue to get better. Like I think they've, I feel like sometimes it's easy for very talented athletes that come from high school to college and then just kind of stay the same, right? And if you're staying the same, you're getting worse because other people are getting better. They've come in with just and I feel like it's part of our culture too, is that, like, listen, every year the expectation is that you get better, like you have to get better. And they've really embraced that and continue to find ways to become better competitors and better skill level and all those things. And so it's been a really cool group of young women, and I'm excited to see what they can accomplish this year and into next year.
Hey, for both of you, really quick. I know everyone would love to see another attendance record on Friday. Like, how much can a big crowd impact both performance and scoring in your sport?
Go girl.
Having a big crowd, honestly, is just more motivation to really show off what we can do and really just light the fire a little bit more. Like they came to see us perform. I don't really know if that affects.
Well, look, I think I think people are finding out more and more like, look, I mean, listen, the SEC gymnastics is typically on most SEC campuses that have gymnastics is the third highest attended event on campus per event right now, not total because we only have 4 or 5 events, but per event, so like a team like LSU coming in, they get 10,000 plus, right? And so when we start seeing that support from our fan base, like it's really inspiring. It's like, hey, like we know we belong, but it's just like extra incentive. Like, look, our fan, not only are your coaches and your team, like we're all bought in, but when we see that the fan base is there to support us too, or see Olivia Dunn, whichever, I don't care. And, that's awesome for us, right? Like we respond to that, at an even higher level. Like everybody's internally motivated, but that little external motivation, man, and you guys know it's the same thing in other sports, right? When we pack that football stadium with 65, 70,000 people, that isn't hurting our team, right? And so same thing for us, it's just extra motivation. I think in regards to how it impacts, there is that subjective side to all officiating, and especially in gymnastics. And I certainly think that it can have a positive impact, especially on the home team. When we got a big crowd there, there's some excitement, there is some emotion when it comes to subjectivity. And I think that certainly can assist the right Tigers with that. So.
Great, thanks.
All right, that's all the time that we have for questions today. Thank you all very much for hopping on this call, and hope to see you at Hearns on Friday.
All right, appreciate you guys. Thank you.